start. So last class we stopped at relevant costing. We finished what is relevant costing. So today we'll be doing the rest of the parts of this particular topic. Okay, like of this chapter, I think. Yeah, this was short-term decision making. Okay, which is page number 203. So here we'll have 213. Okay. So in this short-term decision making, the first part, relevant costing, we have already done all these questions. Fine. Now we are here, make or buy decision. Okay. Make or buy decision. So again, we'll try to understand this first and then we'll get into the maths. So this is short-term decision making. Now, in this make or buy, this make or buy decision. Okay. See, simple things. First of all, if you are a company who is selling goods to customer, all right, selling to customers, then this, like, this question is irrelevant for you. Fine, because then you don't have to choose between make or buy. Do you understand? Then you don't have to choose between make or buy. Literally, think about it. Because if you are a company, you are producing goods and selling. Now the question is how many goods? So that answer is solved by these two things: your production capacity, and the next one was what? Demand. All right, whichever is higher, whichever is higher. So this solved the problem, right? If I can produce 10,000 units and the demand is for 15, how many units you will produce?
15.
How many units? In this case, okay, I have written wrong here, whichever is higher. This should be whichever is lower. Whichever is lower, we'll be producing 10,000.
10,000.
Simple, all right? If I say that, okay, this is like 20,000, then we'll be producing 15.
Yeah.
Fine. Now let's go back to the old one. If this is 10,000, so can we do one thing? We'll produce 10,000 and we'll buy 5,000 and sell it in the market. Fine.
Yeah.
That also can be done, but then why will, see, in the book, they can give you a question which you can solve like this. But think about it. If you are buying it from somewhere at a particular rate and selling it at the same rate, then what is your profit? Like, for example, I'm buying at $10, selling at $10. So what is your benefit? If you are buying at 10 and selling at 12, then why are people buying from you? Are they mad? If there is somebody who is already selling at 10, so this guy can directly sell it to the customers, right? Why you are buying this from this guy and then selling to the customers? Do you get my point? So this question practically doesn't arises in these kind of scenario where you are a company and you are dealing directly with the customer. Okay, are we fine with that?
Yeah.
Now, see, there can be one scenario, but again, it is very weird kind of a scenario. Fine. See, the other scenario can be that our variable cost of production, variable cost is material, labor, and overheads. So if I add all this variable overhead, obviously. So let's say 10, 10, and 10, 30, and fixed overhead is 20. So the total cost of production is 50. Now, if somebody is offering you, all right, why don't you buy this from us at, this is what, 30, right? So at 28, Fine. If somebody is ready to sell this product to you at 28, fine, the entire problem is solved, right? Why you need to do all of this? Because see, at 28 you buy from outside, 20 is your fixed cost, still your total cost is 48. Correct? So in this case, if you are a company and you need a raw material, okay, that raw material either you can make or you can buy. Fine. So basically your main production is happening here. This is your main production. Do you get my point? Like
Yes.
for example, KFC. So they have two things. Either they will buy the chicken from outside, process it and sell, or they will grow their own chicken. Correct?
Mm.
See, initially I started with finished goods only. That if we are talking about finished good, then this question will not arise. Then make or buy is not an option. Fine. Now we are talking about the raw material of the company. Fine. So now in that case, make or buy, it's very simple. The compare the available price. Okay, available price, market price with the current variable cost. Fine. Whichever is lower, that is what we'll choose. All right. If the variable cost, like for in this case, I can buy at 28. So I'll buy at 28. I'm comparing 28 with this 30, not with this 50. Do you understand that? Okay. So overall, what have we learned? In make or buy, if this is a scenario where I need a raw material and I have two options, either I can make this raw material or I can buy this raw material. In that scenario, what will I do? One line answer. Variable cost of production or selling price, whichever is lower. Again, I'm repeating, variable cost of production. Variable cost, why are we writing variable cost? Why are we writing variable cost? Okay, because actually the feel is of incremental, marginal. How much more money I have to spend for this? And why am I again discussing this now? Because at times they will give you direct fixed cost. At times they'll give you direct fixed cost. That means if I want to do this production, then only this fixed cost is available. If I stop this, I can stop this fixed cost also. Fine. For example, let's say license. All right. So I'm doing all these classes, it's all fine. But if you want to teach CPA, you will have to take a license. And there is a cost of it, which is fixed cost. You teach one student or 100 student. That is the cost you have to pay. Fine. So when I will do my maths, I will see that, that fixed cost, the license cost will also be considered because that is a cost of direct consequence of production of this product. Okay. That is directly attached. So if I stop CPA, I can stop this license cost also. I can't stop the rent I'm paying for the building, but I can stop the license cost. Are we fine with that? So that's
Yes.
why the feel is of incremental. We call it very variable cost. Okay, so whichever is higher, that is what we'll choose. Then the main question of make or buy comes in this scenario when you are a company and you are talking about departments. Okay, you have department 1, department 2, department 3, and now see the thing is that, like, the this work is in process like this, and from here it becomes finished goods. You are getting the raw material here. All right, so this is a whole chain. Fine. Now you have got somebody here for this department who is telling that I will sell you these goods from outside. Okay. So point is that let's make it like this. This is the outside market. Outside market. Fine. And do you understand this? The process, the raw material will be purchased by D1 and department 1. Department 1 will process and transfer to department 2. Department 2 will transfer to department 3. Department 3 will sell it to the customers. So basically, department 3 is selling goods in the outside market. Fine. Now pay attention. See, we can have things like this also. Department 1 can also sell things directly in the Department 1 can sell things directly in the outside market, and Department 2 can buy things directly from the outside market. Fine. Department 2, after processing, can sell things in the outside market. Okay. And Department 3 can also buy things from the outside market. Fine. Instead of this line, they can directly buy it from outside and process it and sell it as finished goods. Fine. So in this case, now we have to do the decision at Department 2, that which one is better. This line is better or this line is better. Fine.
Yes.
Similarly, for Department 3, we have to do the question. This is better. This X is better means buying from Department 2 is better, or buying from the outside market is better. And all the departments, see, all the departments have an outside market. They can directly sell what they are making. Okay, they don't have to make the full finished goods and sell it. It's not like that. In this scenario, now you get an interesting question of make or buy, because now the calculation is not based on this available price and variable cost. Now the question is not that simple. Okay, so this is the main question. This is the main question. You have a company, you have different departments, and now you have to talk about this, because here what now you have to do is you have to see that if you are buying the material from outside market, okay, how much of time you are saving for Department 1. Because see, if Department 2 decides that I will buy from outside, so Department 1 should not produce that extra goods for Department 2. Okay, because it has to be beneficial. The whole plan has to be beneficial for the company, right? All of these departments are working for the company. So here in this kind of scenario, we can have some problem, which we have already solved in limiting factors chapter. We'll do that once again. So overall, what is this segment about? Three things. One, make or buy decision when the fight is directly about the finished goods, which is useless kind of stuff. They'll never give you that kind of question. All right, because I told you, right, this make or buy decision will never arise if we are talking about finished goods. Why? Because you will look at your production capacity, you will look at the demand. Whatever you can do, whichever is lower, that much is what you will produce. All right, anything more than that you will not produce. Why? Because, like, if there is somebody who is selling that goods at a cheaper price, customers will directly buy from them. Why will they buy from you? Okay, so, like, they may make a bookish question on this, but practically it is very weird. All right, again, I'm not saying that it is impossible, but it is weird. Now, mainly what kind of question do you get? Fine, you get when the company is buying, like, they need a raw material. Now the question is, you want to produce that raw material also yourself, or you want to buy it? So that is where make or buy comes in. Fine. And in that, we have very easy answering. You have to see what is the available price, and you have to see what is the incremental cost. Basically, variable cost plus the direct fixed cost. Okay. That is what we have to see and compare, and accordingly we can do the maths. Then the next thing is the main, like, chapter, the main problem that we have when we have one company and different departments. Okay, and then there is an outside market which is like coming in their way every time. So now you have to do some maths here to understand what to do and how to deal with this. We have already done a question like this while doing our limiting factor chapter, but again, no problem, we'll do all of this. So let's get into the book now once we are done with all this talking and see the questions. So fine, here we have a beautiful question. What I forgot, yeah, here it is. Okay. All right, so see, this is the question. Fine. I hope it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, see, what are they saying? We have four components W, X, Y, Z for which cost in the forthcoming year are expected. So these are the expected cost that we have. W, X, Y, Z, production units is this, and marginal cost, direct material, variable production, all of that is given. Fine. Now, directly attributable fixed cost. Fine. So basically, let us say that we are talking about some kind of license, all right? Or, I mean, I don't know, legal expense. Fine. So if you want to produce W, you will have to pay 1000. If you don't want to produce W, you don't have to pay 1000. Simple. So this is direct fixed cost, correct? Directly attached, directly attributable. They have mentioned that here. Fine. Simply means if you stop the production of W, you can save this 1000. But see, other fixed costs, let's call it rent of the entire building. You cannot reduce this if you shut down department W. All right. So basically, this is your fixed cost and will be treated like one. All right. And all of the remaining things will be taken not that seriously. Fine. So again, let's start. See, point number one, directly attributable fixed cost. So for W, it is 1000. And how many units of W do you want to produce? 1000. So basically $1 per unit. All right. Now, see, 4, 8, and 2. That is how much? 10, 14. So 1, 15. I will write 15 here as the variable cost. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. And see, a subcontractor has offered to supply W for $12. So what should I do? Should I make it at 15 or should I buy it directly at 12?
Buy it at 12.
Buy it at 12, and hence, what is our final observation going to be here? I will write this here. We will buy. How difficult was that?
Simple.
Simple. And why it is simple, because see, we are talking about a company whose finished goods are W, X, Y, and Z. These are not our raw materials, correct?
Yes.
And that brings us, like, see, this one was difficult, this is the easy one. So currently we are talking about that, right? Okay. That if it is about the finished goods that you are talking about, then it's simple stuff. You just have to do this maths and you decide what you want to produce and what you don't want to produce. Fine.
Yes.
Okay. No, I don't think that is the case. Makes four components. Makes four components. So basically, these are all the raw materials, not finished goods. These are all raw materials, but these are not coming from departments where first you will make W, then it will be transferred to X, then it will be transferred to Y. It's not like that.
Yes.
Fine. These are components, four components. All right. Basically, that means you will mix W, X, Y, Z. You will mix all of this and you will make one finished goods.
Hmm.
Okay. So that was the question, and that is what we have to deal with here. But then there was no departmentalization of these things. It's not that one department can transfer this to another department. It's not that department X can buy W from the department or from the outside market. Correct? These are independent raw materials without any connection. So that is easy. Okay. We'll come across those questions also. Don't worry. Now, the second one, X. So 5000. And how many units you are going to make? 2000. So per unit, it is going to be how much? 2.5. Correct? 5 divided by 2 is 2.5.
Yes.
Now do the maths. So this is already 17 given, right? I think this is already 17. Fine. So 17 plus 2.5. That will give us what? 19.5.
5, yes.
Okay. 19.5 compared to 19.5 compared to 21. What is better?
Make.
21. So we will make.
Make.
We'll choose this and we'll write make. Why? Okay. So your cost is 6,000 and you are planning to make 4,000 units. So that means 1.5 more. Okay. 6,000 divided by 4,000 is so
1.5.
hello.
It's 1.5.
1.5. All right. So the total cost will be 8.5, right? And this guy is selling
Yes.
at what? 10.
Um,
We'll make,
Make.
no problem.
Yes.
Okay. For Z, 8,000 and you are going to make 3,000 units. So your answer will be what? 2.66, 2.67. Do the maths and check. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we fine with this?
Yes, sir.
So the total cost of making, here is 14.67 and you can buy that at what rate?
15.
14. Correct. So better buy, right?
Hmm.
1. So now I will write total cost of production. This one. Fine. And available market price. Is that okay? So
Yes.
if I am making at 15 and buying at 12, so better buy. If I'm making at 19.5 and I have to buy at 21, I'll make. If I can make at 8.5 and buy at 10, so better I'll make. And here, if I can make at 14.67 and buy at 14, so better buy. Done?
Yes.
Fine. So I hope you understand. It was too difficult. And here, see, they have explained what is this. Directly attributable fixed costs are what? Are items of cash that are incurred as a direct consequence of making the product in-house. So if you don't make the product in-house, you don't have to pay that cost. That is why we are treating these fixed costs, fine, as variable costs. See, we are dividing and adding the numbers, right? Otherwise, it's a very simple maths. Variable cost and the market price. Fine. Whichever is lower, you compare these two things, whichever is lower. If the variable cost is lower, we'll make. If the price is lower, we'll buy. But in this question, we had to do some additional maths for these things. Why? Because by the look of it, they were fixed cost, but by the feel of it, they were basically variable costs only. You are paying this money as fixed expense, fine, but only because of the production of these particular units. If you don't want to produce these units, you don't have to pay it. Fine. So that was the question: buy, make, buy. All right. Buy, make, and buy. So remember that. And where is that? Solution and further consideration. Okay. In the case of product, buying is cheaper, and in the case of product Z, the decision to buy rather than make would be financially beneficial. Fine. So they are saying we'll buy W and Z, and that is what I think it is. Fine. Now make or buy decision with a limiting factor. This is the second case which we already have done. All right, and that's why they are saying that, see, this are described in chapter 4. This is something which we already have done. All right, this is something which we already have done. Now we are into the next segment, outsourcing. Fine. So outsourcing, what does that means? Okay. Limiting factor, linear programming. See this part. The one which they are saying you have already done in chapter number 4. All right. Limiting factors. Fine. So that is what I'm trying to show you here. See, they had given us some limiting factor questions which we used to solve. And in all of this, see, I have written in short-term decision making, you will get this kind of a question. All right. Where product A, S, A, T all are required. Fine. Make or don't make. Right. And see here, we got that question. 24,000 hours are available. There is a limitation that only this much of time is available. In this case, we have to buy. First, we have to calculate extra cost of buying 1 unit. If you are buying, then how much money you will have to pay for 1 unit, and then per labor hour how much, and on the basis of this we will do the ranking that which product will make, which will not make. All right, it's already there. Please do some rewind and go and revise this part. Okay, now let's talk about outsourcing. Okay, let's talk about outsourcing. What is outsourcing? Okay, outsourcing basically is, see, you have a company. All right, and there are many things that you are doing. Fine. So like, for example, purchasing of the raw material, procurement of labor, all of these are the tasks, like, arranging the labor, bringing the raw material, doing production. All right, then selling and distribution of the goods, then collection of money, then accounting of all of this. Correct. So many things. And again, here selling and distribution, I have just written like that. There can be many different tasks only related to selling and distribution. Okay, now pay attention to this. Like today it is important for you guys to know and understand. Okay, and what is happening today in the real world also we'll discuss. So now what is happening? See, all of these activities are to be performed by a company. Now the question is, can the company do this? Can they outsource this labor work? Fine. So I don't want to handle any harassment for the labors. Okay. My company will deal with another company. Fine. And what is the task of this company? The task of this company is no raw material, no selling, distribution, nothing. Their task is they will manage the labor. Means they have hired the labor and they are renting the labor to my company. So my company is paying money once, right? One amount going directly to this company. Fine. And that is it. Now this company will distribute money to the laborers. Do you understand that? So what has happened? I have outsourced the entire HR department. Now I don't need this HR department here. Are we fine with that? Any questions?
No.
And what is the benefit of this? In this kind of pandemic, all right, there will be no problem for this company, right? All they have to do is find your laborers, take them, contract over. Now I don't want to deal with you. I don't have work. From where will I pay you? Okay. this company does not needs to go for bankruptcy. All right, because they don't have any laborers on their own chart, right? Maybe it's a company of 10 people, that's it. Do you understand? The entire thing is
Yes.
transferred to this guy. Now this guy is managing 1000 employees and he is sending these laborers to different places. So now this is his headache, right? Because everywhere the work is shut down. Now how will he pay these laborers, all right, without any work? Fine, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Similarly, this selling and distribution, this selling and distribution work can be outsourced, right? Selling and distribution, this call centers, same thing. I will hire somebody, keep with me, I'll train them, and then they will say, no, I want to leave this job and I want to go somewhere else. Who will take this every time's harassment? All right. Why? Because our main task is not that, right? So if one guy leaves, again, it will be a problem for me to find another guy. So why not get the, like, transfer this whole work to a company who is dealing only with these things? So what is the task of that company? Like, let's say call center company. Let's clear this out. Another company, all right? Call center, I have transferred to another company. So what is this company doing? This company has hired hundreds of employees whose only task is calling. If two employee from that company leaves, then also no problem. Your work will be done because in place of them, someone else will come and sit, and it is easier for this company to replace these employees because they are dealing only with these kind of employees. Do you understand? So it will be easy for them. Anyways, not my lookout. If I am here, if this is my company, all right, I am very happy with this, that my job is getting done on the time, in the most prompt way. Are we fine with that? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Fine. Now, see, if it is all good, then we should outsource everything, right?
Mm.
And actually, something like this happens. See, production. Apple is such a big company, correct? And the mobile phone of Apple is produced by Foxconn. You know that?
No.
All right, fine. Fine. See, they don't make their own production, they make the design. They send it to the other companies, they make the product and send it back to them. They do the testing. Now, Apple will do the testing. All right. And then Apple will sell. Apple will concentrate on selling, not on production.
Oh.
Fine.
Mm.
Similarly, Nike, Adidas, Puma, they don't sit and stitch their own shoes. They make the design, send the quotation. There is someone else doing the production, get the work produced from them, send it back in the market and sell. Are we fine with that?
Mm. Yes.
Okay. Now see, this work can be outsourced. Collection work, can be outsourced. You may have heard of the word factoring.
Yes.
All right. That is collection work. I have done the sales. I got the invoices. Now I am selling these invoices to you. You give me money at once and you go and call these people on my behalf and collect the money. All right. You will get some benefit in that. Simply what it means is, if I have given you receivables worth $100,000, you give me 90,000. Okay. And you go and collect 100 from my clients. You take 10,000 for collection. So what happened? This work can easily be outsourced, right? I don't have to do the collection work, correct? I can transfer the production work. I can transfer this work. If I am transferring the production work, why will I purchase the raw material? You do the purchases, correct? So everything, see, accounting work, the most easiest one that can be outsourced. All of the work can be outsourced. Now, what is the problem with this? Advantages we have seen. Okay. What is the problem with outsourcing? The problem with outsourcing is that for everything, if you could have managed all of this work, all right, it would have cost you, let's say 10,000, right? When you are outsourcing, most probably it will cost you 12,000, let's say. At, like, that also doesn't happen. But if you are paying more, then also it is good for you, right? Because in today's world, what they are following is known as lean management, lean management style, lean management system. All right. And what does that means? What does that means? That means don't move with too much of baggage. Don't, like, don't become so big that if something like this, which is happening right now in the world, if something like this happens, you will not be able to survive. Okay. Because see, if all of my works are outsourced, fine. Then basically we are 10 people chilling out in the office. If something like this is happening, no problem, because we have to pay ourselves only, right? If we 10 people can survive this pandemic, nothing has happened in the company. Everything is fine. Next time again, we'll do the same and we'll start, right? But if you have got, like, 10,000 employees, how will you pay them? And if you'll not pay them, what do you want to do next? Either you want to fire them, all right, or you have to shut down the entire building. And actually, like, when you try to fire them, then also there will be legal consequences. You will have to pay so much of money out, correct? That is why they transfer these kind of works to separate companies. Okay. And now if there is a legal claim, that legal claim or whatever it is will be on this company only, right? So this company will shut down, owner of this company will make another company, and he will start doing the same thing. So in between, who is the loser? The employees. They lose their job, and the company in which they were working will become bankrupt. Nobody knows that the name of that company also, so no problem. Fine. The same owners will again come out and start another company. Again, they will hire the same employees, and everything will legally work. Everything will be fine. Do you understand?
Yes.
Fine. So this was like too much for you guys, but since outsourcing is such a beautiful thing in today's world, I wanted to discuss all of this. All right. I want to discuss all of this because see what happens, outsourcing basically provides us the opportunity, fine, to do what you want to do in the most, like, easiest way. And the thing is simple. What does the company do? Fine. What does the company do? They incur expenses and they collect that money back from the customers, right? Okay. So earlier, if I'm selling something for 10,000, I was saving for myself, and, like, the payment for that was 6. So I was saving 4,000 as profit. But now, if I outsource the work, maybe I will be, like, paying 8,000. So only 2,000 will be left with me. All right. But don't you think that is okay? Because this 2,000 is with very less harassment, right? Very, like, tomorrow if I want to change my business, I can, because literally I am not doing anything at all. I'm not managing any work, I'm not managing anything. Everything has been outsourced, and there are respective people, respective companies who are taking care of this. Fine. Now this was for our understanding, because see, obviously if you hire the employees, it will be little bit cost, what do you say, cost effective for you. If you do your own production, all right, maybe you will save some money, right? Maybe you will save some money, but people want to, like, come out of that problem which we are talking about. Fine. The lead management system. See, again, I always give this simple example. Think about Uber. All right. Think about Uber. Fine. World's biggest company for transportation and all that taxi services. Correct. Now, imagine, can't Uber buy their own taxis, own cabs, own car? And if Uber will go for this, they can get a good deal from the car manufacturers also. Yes or no? Because they will be buying in bulk in every city, every country. Correct. Uber can't hire drivers. They can't hire drivers. If they will hire drivers, they will be paying less amount what they pay today as commission. So if Uber does this, right, Uber will be able to make more profit. Yes or no? Don't you think that? They'll be able to make more profit. Today they are taking some commission and the remaining money they are giving back. Fine. If they are the owners and the taxis are owned by them and the drivers are hired as an employee, they are getting monthly salary. All right. In that case, they can, like, they can make more profit. But the problem is there will be more harassment. Now today, the world is like, going for this driverless cars. Then this helicopter Uber services, right? Drone services and all that stuff. Drone taxis, all of these things are coming in. Now imagine if in the next 2 years, all right, imagine, fine, if we get these driverless cars, what will happen to those people who have, like, who have got 10 taxis, 10 cars working for Uber? What will happen to those cars? That is the problem, right? When the change will come, then if you are not lean, all right, if you are not, like, small and compact, then you will have issues. All right, if you are not lean, all right, if you are too bulky, too big in size, then it will be difficult for you to accommodate and adjust. Fine. The best example for that is Nokia. Fine. When Android was coming in, when the world of mobile phone was changing, all right, Nokia at that time was too huge to make any, like, this kind of swift changes and moves. All right, they had grown too big, so they cannot take decision and implement it and get the product out all of this in 3 months time. They need time. So by the time they were coming up with their new product, that product was already there in the market for the last 6 months, being provided by all these small companies at that time. Okay, so anyways, now coming back to our F5. F5, what are we going to get? Okay, I think in outsourcing we have performance outsourcing. That's it. So no questions here. Okay, fine. For outsourcing, what you have to do is you have to draw a line and you have to write incremental benefits. If I outsource, what are the benefits I'm going to get? And you have to write incremental expenses. What are the extra expenses we'll have to bear? Okay, all good? No problem. Fine. So yeah, this is what you have to do. And again, see, what did I told you, that in real life, even if it is little bit costly, all right, we still go for the outsourcing. Why? Because we are looking at the harassment, that this entire problem will be out of my head. Correct. So we take that in, but for the maths part, fine, they will give you question where you have to look at the incremental benefit. If I outsource this, what will I get? Like, for example, if you are outsourcing the collection work, outsourcing the collection work, then what will happen? Fine. So see, incremental benefit is now you don't need that staff, right? Fine. So receivable staff can be removed from job, so you will be reducing some cost there. Correct. All the equipments and all the stuff which they are, like, using overheads can be saved now. So these are the benefits. Okay, these are the benefit. What is the incremental expense? The incremental expense is the commission or the fees that you will have to pay for outsourcing, or fees that you have to pay. So that is your expense. Now you compare which one is better. Fine, whichever is higher. If the expense is higher, then benefits, all right, so will not outsource. If the benefits are more than the expenses you are going to bear, then incremental benefit is this, like I mean outsourcing is what we'll do. Okay, now here in the book they have given us one question which I want you guys to avoid. All right, you mark it and you read it later. All right, this tonnage is considering a proposal. All right, mark this, read it later on. Fine, and then tell me what you understood from this, because this is a misplaced question. You will not even be able to understand what are they talking about. Fine, I also felt the same thing. Like, what is the business and what are we outsourcing? Okay, so anyways, just ignore this one part. We are into further processing decision. Okay, any questions if you guys have till here, please ask, because this was very practical kind of stuff, outsourcing. Right, now tell me, are we fine till here?
Yes.
Further processing. Okay, now this is something which is coming from our F2 days. Fine, the main, the main chapter is joint product byproduct. The main thing is joint product and byproduct. Joint product and byproduct. Now see, the lines are something like this. This is the start and the end of an activity. At this point, you will get three things. And then again, this will start. So in F2, they used to ask questions only till here, only this side. Now they will ask you question from this side also. Fine. And let us remove this line from here. Fine. Let's do this with two products first so that we can understand. Okay. You purchased raw material 1000 kg at the rate of 10 each, and then you paid $5,000 for the process, so labor and overhead cost. Okay, so in this zone you have already paid $15,000. I hope you understand this. Okay, and this is raw material A. So you put raw material A, and at the end of the process you get two products. You get 600 kgs of A, sorry, 600 kgs of X, and you get 400 kg of Y. Okay, 600 kg of A, and okay, this was X and Y, two products. Now if you sell it here only at this point, as at this is known as a split off point. This is known as split off point. So at the split off point, if you want to sell it, right? So this can be sold at the rate of 20, and this can be sold at the rate of 35. Fine. So these are the two things. Now they are saying that, see, further processing. So this, as I told you, that on this side we used to get questions in F2. Fine, till here. Now we have to talk about this side. So this side basically means what? See, you have got this product X. Okay, you have got this product X. Either you can sell it here, or you can do some further processing. Okay, you can do some further processing and sell it at this point. Fine. So let's say that further processing cost will be $3,000. Okay, and at the end, after doing that, you will be able to sell this product for $24 per unit or per kg. Okay, and here let's say the cost will be How much? 8,000. Fine. Which is 55. So after this, you will be able to sell this at 50 per kg, from 35 to 50. Now the question is, should you further process it or not? So yes or no? Like the question is, you want to sell it here at this point or at this point? Fine. Tell me. Do the maths and tell me what do you get? What does your common sense tells you to do? Have you understood the overall question? There are many products, many raw material, fine, when you take them and do the further processing, like for example, if you want to make butter, if you want to make butter, all right, fine, you will take milk and you will do something to it, fine, and at the end you will get butter. But what will happen to the remaining thing? Will that all evaporate, vanish? Do you get my point? Once you have extracted the butter out of the milk, still there is something left, right? This is what I'm talking about. See, this is the cost of the milk, all right? This is the cost of the process after which you will get, let's say, butter. But then once you get butter, there is something else, right? There will be something, this is known as buttermilk. So there will be something left which is also valuable. So you can sell the butter also and you can sell the buttermilk also. So this whole thing is coming out of one process, right? Okay. The question is, can you make butter without making buttermilk? No, you cannot. That is why it is called joint product. That's why it is called joint product, because these products are combined. Okay. Again, see, I mean, little bit weird example, but let's say if you want to produce milk, what will you do? You will buy cow, buffalo, correct? So, like, the price that you have to pay, these are not raw materials, but like, assets, right? And then you have to feed them, correct? So these are all combined costs. These are all combined costs that you will have to incur, right? And at the end, the cow will give you milk, fine? And the cow will give you cow dung also, right? Can you produce milk without the cow dung? No. Similarly, sugar, fine. So you produce, you either you buy or you produce the sugar canes, right? That is your raw material. Then you pay for, like, you have to take the juice out of it and you have to process it to make sugar out of it. Fine. So first you buy the sugar cane, then you do some processing with it. So this is here, fine. And at the end of that process, what do you get? You get the juice of the sugar cane and you get the husk. Can you again produce juice without making husk? The leftover part of the plant, which is actually used for making paper, for burning in the sugar mills, you can burn this. All right. So they use it. Point is, do you understand the concept of joint product? Joint product means two products which are coming out of the same activity. Are we fine with that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Byproduct means here in this case, see, is there a comparison between the value of the juice and the husk? This husk, like, if 1 kg of this juice is like, $20, this is too much, I think, not 20, but let's say even if this is $2, all right, 100 kg of this husk will also not be $2, I think. Fine. So there is no comparison between the two products, right? For example, milk and cow dung. All right. So there is no comparison in the value. So when there is too much of this, like, what do you say, discrepancy or difference in the value, we call it byproduct. Byproduct is something which nobody wants to produce, all right? But then you can't do the production of the main product without this. Like again, for example, can you produce juice without producing the husk? Like, have you seen anybody who wants to or who has done sugarcane farming for the husk only? They don't want the juice. Fine. That's not how it works, right? So that is joint product and byproduct. We don't need to get too much emotionally into it. The main question still remains here. All right. I am telling you, imagine there is a product A, and when you process it, you get two things out of it, X and Y. You can sell X and Y at their current state, or you can do some further processing. Like, in our example, dairy, fine, you have got milk and you have got cow dung. So fine, leave the cow dung. Milk, either you sell the milk the way it is, or you do some flavoring into it, strawberry flavored milk and pineapple flavored milk, right? So further, either you sell the milk as it is, or you do something more with the milk and then sell it. That is called further processing. Fine. So I hope we are fine with the concept of this further processing. Now the question is, I have given you too many numbers, and my question is, what should I do? Should I sell product A or product X, okay, at this point after split off, or should I sell it after the further processing? What is your answer? Should I sell it here?
Sell it after split off.
Split off here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. And why do you think that?
Because after further processing, we reach at $25 per kg.
Yeah.
So it's just meeting the cost of.
Okay.
It's not profit in selling.
I think like see, your analysis is right, but I'm not sure about your way of that analysis. Fine. Because see, what we do is we calculate marginal revenue and marginal cost. Okay.
Okay.
So if marginal revenue is more, then we'll go for further processing. All right. Okay. And it is very
Okay.
simple math here. See, $3,000 is what you'll have to spend for 600 kgs. So what is the marginal cost per kg? $5. And what is the marginal revenue? You are selling here for 20, 5, again 5. Right? Actually, these are equal. So you can process also, you cannot process also. All right. And this is a good answer. Split off at this point is a good answer. Okay. Now, if I make this 26, then marginal revenue is 6 and marginal cost is 5. Then this is not good, and we will be selling at after further processing. Are we fine with that?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now go ahead, do the same for product Y. Just give me 2 minutes for the processing. Okay. Yeah, so what do we get? What are you? Okay. Something more. Marginal cost 20, marginal revenue 15. So cost is high, we shouldn't, right? Marginal revenue is 15. I can see that, yes. Yeah. So in this case, I think what we have is marginal revenue. Revenue is 15 and cost is 20. So this is better. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yeah.
Let's quickly have a look at the question which is given to us in the book. Two questions I think they have given in regard to this. Okay. So joint product, they have explained what is joint product. They have explained like what are these things, common cost. Now see, the poison chemical company produces two joint product, Alash and Potom from the same process. Joint processing costs of 150 are incurred up to the split off point. Fine. So first let me draw that. Okay, so they are saying two things they have. Fine. 150 is the cost before that, and when 100,000 Alash and 50,000 Potom. So they are saying here we have got 100,000 of A, and here we have got what, 50. Yeah, 50,000 of B. So these are the two products we are getting. Now the selling price at the split off point is 1.25 and 2. So 1.25 and 2. Here we have 1.25 and here we have at the rate of 2. Fine. What else? Now what do they want? The units of Alash could be processed further to produce 60,000 units of a new chemical, Alash Plus. Fine. But at an extra fixed cost of 20, variable cost of 30 cent per unit of the input. Fine. Now the selling price will be 3.25. So basically what they're trying to say is only about this. They are saying that this can be sold at 3.25. Yeah, and then the cost will be 20 plus 30 cents. So 20,000 plus 20,000 plus 30 cents per input, per unit of input. So this is the input, right? So this will become 30,000 then. All right, fine. And what will you get here? If you put 100,000, you will get only 60,000 units of this Alash Plus. Fine. So we have got all the things. Should the company sell Alash or Alash Plus? So basically the question is, you want to sell at this point or at this point? That is the question. All right. Rather than trying to calculate the profit loss, we'll just calculate the marginal revenue from this to this and marginal cost. Marginal cost we can see directly $50,000 you will have to spend. Fine. Marginal revenue is going to be how much? So at this point, if you sell, you will be getting $125,000. Correct? 100,000 kg at 1.25. This is what you will get. And if you sell at this point, what do you get? Do the maths. 1.8. Oh, sorry, 18, 15. So 195, I think we'll get. 195,000. Is this correct? Do the math and tell me.
Yes, sir.
So if 195 is what we are going to get, what is the marginal here?
70,000.
70,000. Now you guys tell me what to do. We should sell at point X or at point Y
0.5.
after the split off, right?
Yeah.
So that is going to be our answer. Sell after split off. Sorry, after further processing. After further processing. That's it. Okay. See, with the diagram, it is always easy. All right. If
Hmm.
you, I mean, look at all this, it will be a little bit weird. All right. It is 20,000 more profitable to convert Alash Plus. And I hope you understood that from here also, you will get 20,000 more benefit. Okay. Now, the next question. Fine. Here, company manufactures 4 products from an input of raw material to process 1. Following this process, product A is processed in process 2, product B is processed in process 3, C and D. So 5 things. Fine. See. Overall, again, the story is something like this. This is the starting point. Fine. This to this. This is your process 1, by the way, in which you put the raw material, and at the end you get 4 products. Okay. So let it be like this. So these are the 4 products that you are going to get out of this one product. And let's say this is your process 2, this is process 3, this is process 4, this is process 5. This is what they have mentioned, process 1, 2, 3. In product A is processed in process 2. So basically this is your A, this is your product A, this one is B, this one is C, and this one is D. All right, and this was the raw material. So you put one raw material and you get all these things. Okay. Now the normal loss in process 1 is 10% of the input. And there are no expected losses in other processes. Fine. So scrap value in process 1 is 0.5 per liter. The cost incurred in process 1 are apportioned to each product according to the volume of output of each product. Production overhead is absorbed at the percentage of direct wages. Now, see, they have given us some information here, which obviously has to be followed with this. Process 1, 2, 3. Okay, this one was raw material. This is A, B, C, D, but they have written it in this format. Now see, direct material at 1.25 per liter. Fine. And they have given you, see, in process 1, you have put 100,000 worth of goods. So first of all, do the maths. What is the amount of liter? Because see, there is 10% process loss also, right? So first of all, you need to know how many units you started with, how many liter. All right. So 100 divided by 1.25. Do the maths and see, are you getting 80,000 liters or not?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So if you are getting 80,000 liters, I will write 80,000 liter at the rate of 1.25. Okay. This is what we started with. Okay. 10% of this is going to be normal loss. So we will be having here in these segments, we will be having story of 72,000 liters then. Correct?
Yes.
Now, see, direct wages in process 1 was 48,000. Okay. Direct wages was 48,000. So here, this is the raw material. Then this is the raw material. Then we have labor, $48,000. Okay. And then in process 2, it is this. In process 3, 4, 5. So now these numbers are these things, right? These are the further processing costs. So the numbers are 12, 8, 4, 16. So the numbers are 12, 8, 4, 16. Okay. Now they are saying, see, production overhead, the cost incurred in process 1 are apportioned, and this production overhead is absorbed as a percentage of direct wages. As a percentage of direct wages. So see, what is the production overhead total? 66. All of these are blanks. But how much do you have here?
56.
And what is the direct wages? 88. Correct? Hello.
Yes.
Do you guys understand what to do now? Fine, go ahead. You guys tell me what to do and I'll do. This is the question. What should I do next? What to do with the production overhead? Are you guys there or already left for a long holiday?
No, we are good.
You are trying, right? I am asking
Yeah.
what to do with the production overhead. So basically, you should pay attention only to two lines. Alright? Read this line from here, okay? And then read this line from here,
Yes.
these two things. Fine? So you have to see that these were all blanks. Now what to do?
Divide by liters.
What?
You have to divide the production overhead by all these liters of per process. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, divide that and tell me what do you get. Do the maths and tell me what should I write. Very good. Okay, how do you guys interpret this? Production overhead is absorbed as a percentage of direct wages. How do you interpret this? What do you understand by this line? All right. Because anyways, no point going forward, but still, I just want to finish this question. Production overhead is 66 and direct wages is 88, right? Can you calculate what percentage it is? 66 is what percentage of 88? Sixty-six as a percentage of 88 is how much?
$75.
75%, exactly. Yeah.
Now we'll take 75% into 1284.
Okay. Yeah. So once again, tell me what you were saying.
So now are we
75%.
supposed to take 75% of 128416?
Yeah, and 48 also.
Yeah.
So 75% of 48. All right. That will be 36. Okay.
Yes.
75% of 12. Fine. That will be 9.
9.
This will be 6. This will be 3. And this will be 12.
Yes.
All right. And if you will add all this 36, 9, 6, 3 and 12, you will get 66. Want to try that? Check. Check the maths and see.
Yes.
Are we fine with that one? Okay. Now see, I'm just filling up the data right now. We haven't started talking about what to do with this. Okay. So anyways, output, they are saying that here ABCD output is 22,000, 20, 10 and 18. 22, 20, 10 and 18. So they are saying this is what? 22, 20, 10 and 18. So 22, 20, 10 and 18. This is what we are getting. This many units. All right. Can you do the maths and see the total is how much? Which was supposed to be 72. You will get only 70. Do the maths quickly.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically we were expecting out of 80, 8,000 units will be lost, but actually 10,000 units were lost. That is the whole story, right? Out of 80,000 liters, we were expecting 8,000 liters to be lost. 80 minus 8, 72. But actually 80 minus 10 happened and we finally got only 70, because they have clearly mentioned that in these processes there is no there is no like loss. All right. And this is basically our P1, P2. So let me make that also clear. This is just the split off point, right? So here, like the second stage is our, this is P2, process 3, process 4, and process 5. After process 1, these are the values which we were supposed to get. And now they are saying selling price 4325. They are saying that the selling price is going to be 4325 here, 4, 3, 2, and 5. And at the split off point, see sales value at the end of process 1, 2.5, 2.8. So here it was 2.5, 2.8, 1.2 and 3. 1.2 and 3. Okay. So this is what it was. Like now what do they want from us? I think I have put all the numbers except for, we have used everything except for this. Scrap value is 0.5. We'll come to that. Now what do they want? Suggest and evaluate an alternate production strategy. Okay. Which would optimize profit for the month. It should not be assumed that the output of process 1 can be changed. You cannot change the output of process 1. Okay. So output cannot be changed. Fine. So best optimal strategy means which product you want to make. Fine. Like you want to further process, which one you want to sell here and which one you want to sell here. This is what they want to know. Fine. How many products will be further processed? Fine. That is the main question now. Okay. Now look at the maths, do the calculations, and accordingly we'll move forward. Fine. So here, what is the extra calculation? How much money you are spending more? Fine. So this is how much?
21.
How much is this? 21, right? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, 21.
21.
Fine. So $21,000 you are spending for 22,000 units. Correct? See, this is 22. They have already mentioned it somewhere that there is no loss in the second level. See, the cost incurred is a portion, and see, there is no expected loss in other processes. So in other processes, there is no expected loss. We don't have any loss in these processes. So it's an easy maths. 21 by 22. Your answer will be less than 1, right?
Yeah, 0.95.
0.95.
95.
All right. So in this case, we are getting 0.95 as the marginal cost. And we can clearly see that the marginal revenue is 1.5. Correct? Do you see that? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes.
Fine. So obviously in this case, we will process, we'll further process.
Mhm.
Correct? Because
Yeah.
our marginal revenue is more than marginal cost. Fine. Similarly, 8 plus 6, how much? 14.
Yeah.
Right? And then 14 divided by 20,000 units. So 14 by 20,000. What do you get?
0.7.
How much?
0.7.
0.7. So our marginal cost is going to be 0.7, whereas see 0.8 and 3. So marginal revenue is only 0.2. Right? So
Yeah.
in this case, marginal cost is more. Don't process. Are we fine with that?
Yes, sir.
This is what 7,000, right? Divided by 10,000. So again 0.7. And here the revenue is 0.8. This is better. Process. It is too difficult. This by 18.
No.
So 16 and 18 is what? 28. 28 by 18 is how much?
1.5.
1.5 and marginal revenue is 2. So marginal revenue is better, correct? Process. So the best thing that we can do is we'll process the products A, C and D, and B we will sell at the split off point. Are we done with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now all of this, and I think the answer is somewhere here. See, this analysis would seem to indicate that product A, C and D should be further processed. Fine. But product B should be sold at the end of process 1 without further processing. Are we all happy with this?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So the saving would be at least $4,000 per month. Like, I don't know this was required or not. Fine, 4,000 per month, but they have done it from here, this point for B. I don't know now which color to use. So this one, pencil. Fine. So if you do the maths, you can see that here, if we go for further processing, all right, you will be losing some money, right? See, will be losing how much? 0.5,
5.
right? 0.5 into 20,000. So $10,000 extra we'll be spending.
Yeah.
Correct? Will not get that much of money, right? If you go for the further processing, your cost is what? This and this, 14,000. Your cost is 14,000. Are we fine with that?
Yes.
All right. And if you if you go for this further processing, your sales will increase by how much? Your sales will increase by what? 0.2 only, right? So 0.2 into 20,000 is 4,000 only. So cost increases by 10, profit increases only by 4. So basically you will be making a loss of 10,000. I don't know that was required or not, because as far as the main question is concerned, the main question was what do you suggest, what to do, right? So in that case, this is what our answer is. Okay, yeah, there is one more catch in this one though. Wait 1 second. See, suggest and evaluate an alternate production strategy which would optimize the profit for the month. Fine. So the strategy is what we have already discussed. The strategy is what we have already discussed. Now, one more important thing here is about the production overhead. This extra amount, overhead, right? Overhead is what? Overhead is indirect fixed costs, right? So if I don't process this, I think the third one, that was A, B, C, D, right? So this is B. If I don't do this, if I don't do the production of this, all right, still the production overhead in total will be 66 only, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that can we avoid this 6,000? If I don't do the production, I will be able to save this 8,000, right? But not that 6,000. That 6,000 I will have to pay anyways. Tell me, do you understand that or not?
Yes.
This 6,000 I will have to pay anyways. Why? Because that is production overhead. That is overhead.
Yes.
Okay. So I will be able to save this 8,000. And this is what actually they were saying. Fine. That this 6,000 is what we are doing accounting. That is not extra cash expense. This 8 was extra cash expense. Fine. So if we go by that understanding, then what is happening here is, see, the extra money that you will be making is 2.8 minus this means 0.2 into 20,000. That is 4,000. You will make extra 4,000 and you will pay extra 8,000. Right? So basically, if you go for processing, you will be making a loss of 4,000. If you don't do the processing, you will save 4,000. That was the 4,000 which they have mentioned there at the bottom of this. I hope we are okay and fine with the concept of further processing. Okay, further processing is talking all about this side of the story. Are we fine with that?
Yes.
The next topic that we have, last short-term decision making, is shutdown decision. All right, shutdown decision. And again, the calculation for shutdown decision is also very simple and easy. All right, if you still remember your economics days, there was also something called shutdown point, and the answer to that was variable cost. Fine, your average variable cost curve is like this, and if the profit is like, if the price is here, this is the least. All right, if the price goes little bit down, then you should stop production. Fine, because now you will not be able to create a positive contribution also. Fine, that was economics. Here, shutdown decision, shutdown decision, all right, is based on basically two things. Shutdown decision is basically based on two things. You will do the calculation like this: sales minus variable cost, you will get contribution, minus fixed cost, you will get profit. Okay. So now, okay. So see, we will shut down business if we have negative contribution. Fine. If you have negative contribution, shut down the business. Fine. If you have positive contribution, continue. Okay. Other thing is, if your loss, because generally the concept of shutdown will come in play once you have loss. All right. So if your loss is more than fixed cost, then shut down. All right. Then shut down. Are we fine with this? Simple maths. So you don't have to do any rocket science here. If the contribution is negative, that means your selling price is $10 and your variable cost is 11, then only contribution will be negative, right? In this situation, shut down. No point continuing. Okay. Actually, these both things means the same. If this will be negative, contribution negative, then only your loss will be more than fixed cost. Otherwise, it can never be. You cannot have this as 10,000, this as 9,000, so only 1,000 contribution and finish fixed cost 8,000. Fine. So obviously this will be 7 only, right? And what is happening? Your loss is less than fixed cost, correct? But if I say, no, no, this was 11,000, so this will become 1,000 negative. This will become 8,000 negative, and here you will get 9,000. So you will get you will get loss more than the fixed cost only if this is negative. So I have given you two ways to think, whatever suits you, whichever line you can keep in your head. All right. When do we shut down a department? When our contribution is negative or our fixed cost loss is more than the fixed cost. Okay. And for this purpose, again, you have to think about attributable fixed costs. Remember those things. Fine. If there is a cost, fixed cost, all right. If there is a fixed cost which I don't need to pay, if I have already, like, if I shut down the department, I don't need to pay, then that will be treated as variable cost. The way we did this in that this question, there was one, yeah, this one, make or buy. So we had attributable fixed cost, right? And what we did, we treated them as variable costs. See, we added them to the variable costs and then we did our calculation. Fine. So similarly, if we have something like this, we'll treat it in that way. Now again, they have given, I think, one question, but they have, like, they started with this and then they added their own story and continued talking about it. Fine. Like for this, okay, pawn, rooks and bishop. So pawn is making profit, bishop is making profit, total is profit. We don't need to do anything, right? Here, see, rooks. So you are having a positive contribution. Don't shut down. Easy. All right. So the company is concerned about this performance and this and that. It is felt that selling price cannot be raised or lowered. So 5,000 of the fixed cost of this are direct. Now see, from this point onwards, they are saying 5,000 of the fixed cost of Rook, this company, are direct fixed cost. Means if you shut down this business, you can reduce the fixed cost by 5,000. Okay, you can reduce this by 5,000. Okay, our direct fixed cost and saved if production ceased. Okay, then all other fixed costs it is considered would remain the same. Fine. So no problem. They are saying that this 5,000 can be saved. It doesn't make any sense by for saving this 5,000. We don't want to save that 5,000. Why? Because currently, see, we are earning 15,000. Fine, we are getting 15,000 contribution. If I shut down this project, I will be able to save only 5,000. So you tell me which one is better, saving 15 or saving 5? All right. So that way 15 is better. We'll go ahead with the production of Rook. Will not close any business. How, like, see, this is a very what do you say, verbal kind of answer, right? How will you do this? Fine, don't do anything, close this department and then do the math. So if we close this, sales become zero, variable cost becomes zero, contribution becomes zero, and fixed cost will become 13, right? So now we'll make a loss of 13, right? So a loss of 3 is better or a loss of 13 is better? Easy, right? Okay. Now, by stopping production of Rooks, the consequence would be a 10,000 fall in profit. Why 10,000 fall? Because currently I'm getting 15. If I get only 5, then I'm making a loss of 10, right? Okay. So 15 and 5, 10. Now, suppose, however, they just keep on changing the story. However, it were possible to use the resources realized by production of Rooks and switch to producing a new item. So now they are saying that if we stop this, there will be 13,000 worth of fixed cost useless. They are saying that can be used for producing another product called Crowner. Okay, which would sell for 50,000 and incur variable cost 30, and extra direct fixed cost of 6,000 will be required. All right, extra 6,000 will be required. So no problem, do the maths. 50 minus 30, 20 is the contribution we are going to get. Okay, and out of that 20 contribution, this extra fixed cost will be 6,000. So if I remove that 5 from 18, 18 minus 5 is 13, 13 plus 6 is wapas back to 19, right? So in that case, 20 minus 19, I will be getting $1,000 profit, right? That is better for me. Okay, anyways, they have done the maths here. They are showing you it in this way. See, sales 40, 25, 15. Okay, and 13,000 is the cost which is already there. So let's not talk about it. Fine. The incremental fixed cost was 5. So if I take that 5 minus, I am left with 10,000 worth of profit right now. Okay, I am left with 10,000 worth of profit right now. From this 10,000, I will subtract the remaining 13,000. Okay, so what do you get? Like in my calculation, what I have done was, from this I went all the way down to profit. They have stopped here, fine, at 10. So anyways, 10 minus 13, we are at minus 3. Okay, that is the minus 3 that you can see here. That is the minus 3. Okay, basically what they did was they split this 18 into two parts, into 5 and 13. All right, so if I do that, I will get minus 3 here. On the other hand, when you are doing the working for Crowners, everything same, 20, and they are subtracting 6, so they are getting 14. Now again 14 minus 13 is how much? 1,000, right? That is 1,000 which we calculated verbally. Okay, so 14 minus 13 is 1. So basically from a loss of 3, you are moving to a profit of 1. That means extra $4,000, right? That is what they have calculated here. It will be more profitable to shut down production of Rook and switch to Crowner. Why? Because they will increase your profit by 4,000. And if your profit increases by 4,000, your main profit will become 9. See, here it was 5 plus 4, 9. In other words, this will remain 5, this will remain 3, and if this becomes 1, what do you get? 5 plus 3, 8, and 1 is 9. That is what they are giving you here. Fine. Now again, I am not too happy with this question because, like, there is no question answer kind of feel to it. Fine. They just explained a full maths to you. I have like summarized this in a more easy way. Do the maths like this. The decision is, should we shut down the department or not? The answer is very simple. Is the department creating a positive contribution? Yes, then continue. Negative contribution, shut down. Simple. Okay. At times they don't give you the full information. So fine. Like, my loss and my fixed cost. If the loss is more than the fixed cost, then shut down. If it is less, I will continue. Done with that? The only intelligent thing that you have to do here is you have to accommodate. Fine, accommodate and in your understanding. Fine, you have to accommodate for attributable fixed cost, directly attributable fixed cost. So if there is a fixed cost which is directly attached to one particular department, that has to be treated as variable cost while doing your math. Okay, that has to be treated as variable cost while doing your maths, and you can understand that from here also exactly same. See, 5,000 was directly attributable, right? Direct fixed cost. So they are treating that as variable cost only, right? 40 minus 30, 10, direct. They have just shown it in different stages. And here also they are writing contribution only. So basically you are treating that 5 as variable cost. Okay. Now they're talking about timing of shutdown, when you should do, like, just do the reading because these are all emotional stuff. Okay. Timing of shutdown basically means if you have started, here you have done the rent agreement. Fine. So after 2 months, it's not feasible to shut down because anyways you have to pay for the 10 months. You have already done the agreement here, right? So these kind of things, if you have to shut down, then at least you have to drag for another 10 months and shut down here. Do you understand?
Yes.
So this is it for today, and this is it for this chapter. Now we are left with the risk and uncertainty chapter. Okay. See, when I will do the question, you will find it easy. All right. If I ask you guys one question, it feels as if you will take 2 hours just to answer that one question. It is impossible to get over with this topic, with this subject in this way. All right. If you guys are so confident about your costing skills, I mean, this was sarcastic way I was talking. You are not so confident. You are not at all confident, and that will affect you in your exam. Okay. Okay, no problem. We'll do something. We'll do a test. All right. After once I get over with this next chapter, risk and uncertainty, we'll do a test. Better.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. Yeah. I'll see how many of you will come for that test. We'll do parents call if anybody is absent.
Just
That's
for
the-
the section,
What?
like from cost volume to risk and uncertainty,
Yeah.
right?
I'll tell you. See, best is I will do one thing. See, I'll leave this one part B.
Yeah, leave
Okay.
costing.
Only part C will do.
Yeah, part C.
Fine, from CVP to this. We have
Better.
got many things here, so we'll do this. Okay,
Okay.
best.